Schrade Quick Tips. Sharpen your skills.
In this Schrade Quick Tip video, we will show you a quick technique for making an arrow from scratch in the wild. We'll discuss a few different options for fletching your survival arrows on the fly, and also get a few tips from our experts along the way. In any extended survival scenario, food will eventually become a priority. If you don't have the modern means to hunt and trap, you'll need to improvise. A quickie survival bow is an excellent option for a makeshift hunting tool. See our video in this series on building a quickie survival bow. However, without arrows, your survival bow is nothing more than a handcrafted piece of firewood. So before we get started, you'll need a few items, such as a saw, duct tape, and fire-starting materials. While you're at it, grab a good full-tang fixed-blade survival knife like our SCHF 51 or SCHF 52. The first step in arrow making is selecting the arrow shaft. Depending on your area, this tends to be more easily said than done. An ideal arrow shaft is lightweight, rigid, and most importantly, straight. Some plants, such as river cane, grow hollow in the center and relatively straight, making them ideal. If no river cane is available in your area, use your knife to harvest a straight section of a hardwood branch or sapling that is roughly 1/4 of an inch in diameter and between 28 and 34 inches in length. Heat bending is a simple and effective primitive technique for straightening arrow shafts. Making several slow passes with the freshly cut arrow shaft over a hot open flame will cause the moisture inside of the green wood to become heated and the arrow shaft to become extremely pliable. Simply bend your arrow shaft so that it's as straight as possible by heating and bending a few inches at a time. As the arrow shaft cools down, it will stiffen and retain its newly straightened form. With your arrow shaft straightened, it's now time to add a point to the arrow. There are a handful of options for making precision arrow points that will rival even the best modern tips for hunting large game. For small game hunting, a sharp, fire-hardened wooden point will be sufficient and save you quite a bit of time when making multiple arrows. Using your knife, carve a sturdy point that resembles a modern field point. Using a fire-hardening technique will dramatically increase the durability of your arrow points. This can be done by slowly waving the arrow point over an open flame. This forces moisture out of the wood, leaving behind an extremely hard point. With your arrow now straightened and the tip fire-hardened, lightly touch up and resharpen the point if needed. Now, it's time to add a slot at the back of the arrow shaft. This is called the Nock. The Nock allows the arrow to rest securely and in the proper position on the bowstring before being fired. First, fire-harden the back of the shaft like you did the tip. Now, use your knife or a mini saw, like the one found in our Schrade ST1NB tough tool, to carefully saw or carve about a 1/4 inch deep notch into the rear end of the arrow shaft. Make sure that your notch is just wide enough so that the bowstring fits snugly in the nock of the arrow, and gently taper the ends. Now it's time to fletch the arrow. The fletching stabilizes the arrow's path and sends it into a spiral when fired from a bow, allowing the arrow to fly in a much straighter trajectory than otherwise possible. Primitive cultures typically used feathers to fletch their arrows by hand, but unfortunately fletching an arrow with feathers take quite a bit of time and skill. However, duct tape is often carried in survival kits and by outdoorsmen for its long list of practical uses. And, in a pinch, it can be used to quickly fletch an arrow. Start by cutting 3 5-inch long strips of duct tape. Next, fold one piece over, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the sticky side exposed along the full length of the bottom, like this. Now here's a bonus tip. Carrying a simple feather template in your survival kit can make shaping your duct tape fletching in the field a whole lot easier. We've included a link to this template in the video description to help you out. Use the template to draw a feather shape on each of your 3 fletching sets. Make sure to leave about a 1/2 inch tab at the beginning and the end of your feather. Use a knife or a pair of scissors to trim each duct tape feather, making sure not to accidentally trim off the tabs. Next, place the first feather on the top of the arrow shaft about 1.5 inches from the nock end of your shaft and add a 90-degree angle to the direction you slice the notch in your nock. Now press the adhesive strip onto the shaft until it is secure, like this. Repeat this process 2 more times, evenly spacing the 2 remaining feathers around the shaft, for a total of 3 feathers. When you are done, the bottom of the arrow shaft should be without a feather, so that when the arrow is shot, the arrow is not pushed away from the bow. If your feathers don't align close to this, remove and reposition them. To finish off your fletching, cut 3 thin strips of duct tape, about 1 inch long. Tightly wrap one around the shaft, securing the front and rear tab of each feather. Wrap the third below the nock notch to prevent splitting. When testing your primitive bow and arrow at home, always make sure to wear appropriate eye protection and only fire your arrow at targets designed for archery. There you have it. This quick and simple technique for crafting in arrows to tip the odds in your favor and give you a fighting chance of putting food on the table in any wilderness survival scenario. We hope you've enjoyed this Schrade Quick Tip, and be sure to check out our companion video, How to Make a Survival Bow.
For more survival and bushcraft skills, be sure to check out our other videos in this series. While you're at it, visit www.schrade.com to see our full assortment of quality axes, knives, and accessories. But for now, be sure to click the subscribe button above to subscribe to our Schrade Knives YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Ways you can connect with Schrade are in the description below, along with other great tips and relevant info. To discover more about the gear used in this video, check out the links in the video description on YouTube. Visit Schrade.com or take a trip to your local outdoor gear retailer.